Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone, and we're bowling things off with cricket here. President of the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board, Asim Bassarat, says he is shocked and disappointed over the reasons for Sunday's adjournment of the annual general meeting of Cricket West Indies, suggesting on the eve of the test match it created or could have created a psychological disadvantage, and giving an appearance that there is disunity among the directors of the CWI. Sunday's AGM failed to proceed as planned due to a lack of a quorum, as the designated representatives from Guyana and Barbados failed to log on to the Zoom meeting. The AGM has been rescheduled for Sunday, the 11th of April, at which time elections for posts, including president, are set to proceed. Bassarat himself, a director, says the TTCB is in firm support of Ricky Skerritt and his Vice President Kishore Shallow continuing for another term. And Bassarat joins us now on the SportsMax Zone. Asim, great to talk to you on the Zone. It's been a while that we have spoken to you. Articulate for us what we just presented about your disappointment at the proceedings on Sunday.
Well, good evening, and good evening to all your viewers. It is always a pleasure to join you on SportsMax, one of the most vibrant TV stations in the Caribbean. Of course, Cricket West Indies is a serious business entity, and anyone who is involved with cricket and with Cricket West Indies will know that an AGM is very, very important indeed. And hence the reason why that I think when both the Guyana Cricket Board and the Barbados Cricket Association did not show up for the meeting and did not quorum the meeting, then I think everybody would have been very disappointed and shocked to know that the quorum was not, we didn't have the quorum to start the meeting, and the meeting had to subsequently be postponed for another 2 weeks.
Vice presidential candidate Calvin Hope was on the SportsMax Zone, as you may know, on Monday, and he outlined reasons for their not taking part in the AGM. Among them, the late presentation, as he put it, of the audited reports, which all of the territorial boards and the directors would have been aware of. What's your take on that situation and the reason they put forward?
Well, the management of the board had submitted a reason and excuse for not submitting the financials on time. I think the Barbados Cricket Association did waive the notice what was asked for by the management team, and then they withdrew. The other territorial boards, with the exception of the Guyana Cricket Board, did not waive. So I don't think that should be really any major excuse and reason for not attending the meeting. How long will you take to really peruse a financial statement? If you take 6 hours, you got the statement about 48 to 60 hours before the meeting. And if you take 6 hours to peruse the document, you know, it was enough time, and there were reasonable excuses why the financial report was not submitted on time. So I don't think that it should be an excuse why the meeting couldn't have gone and why they didn't attend the meeting.
We note with it was very noticeable that in your discussions or your pronouncements coming out of Sunday's happenings, as well as press releases we saw from the Jamaica Cricket Association, the Leeward Islands Cricket Board, and the Windwards, after expressing disappointment, all those press releases suggested solid support for Ricky Skerritt. Do you think what had happened on Sunday in any way solidifies Skerritt's bid to retain the presidency?
Well, if you look at social media, if you look at what is in the public domain, I think it has solidified tremendous support for both Mr. Skerritt and Dr. Shallow. By now, I feel that the Guyana Cricket Board and the Barbados Cricket Association will have realized that, you know, they made a mistake by not attending the meeting.
I have an inside story, Asim, that you at some point during the past few months had considered challenging Ricky Skerritt for presidency of the board. Can you comment on that?
Well, I also heard that, Lance, and I heard that on many occasions.
Yes.
But I cannot recall that I ever thinking about challenging Ricky. I think even Ricky had told me that he heard that, but that was never my intention.
So the way I got it is that there were aspects of Ricky Skerritt's presidency that you weren't satisfied with, and that was one of the reasons why you were considering challenging for the top spot.
One thing with Mr. Skerritt, whenever there is differences among the board, and more so on people who would have supported him in 2019, that Mr. Skerritt would have had meetings with them, he would have called, exchanged text messages and so on. So that was a false rumor that was spreading across the Caribbean. And with any organization and in any entity, you will find there are differences.
Azim, good afternoon once again to you. The issue of the financial statements, I want to re-examine that issue, because you said that given the time that the Barbados party would have gotten the final audit statement from the auditor, it was in more than enough time for them to have digested what it was and to not that be an obstacle to them not coming to the meeting. But based on what was said yesterday, Calvin Hope told us that it was about 24 hours before that the statements were delivered and that it wasn't approved. There was nothing to suggest that it had been approved by Cricket West Indies after coming through the auditor's hands. So if I put that to you, firstly, can you confirm to the best of your knowledge, when is it that the transmission would have been made to the Barbados representative of the financial statement that would have been part of the agenda for Sunday's AGM?
I was told that up to today, I was told that the financials went to the shareholders representative on the Thursday, last week Thursday. I, as a director, received the document at 11:55 a.m. on Friday morning, which is about 48 hours before the meeting. As I said before to Lance, that if you take 6 hours to go through the financials, I cannot see 48 hours is not enough.
Right.
Not receive the document and to peruse it.
Right, good. But so based on your experience of being a director and how these things are transmitted from Cricket West Indies, if you got it at 11:55 a.m. on Friday morning, you are saying that it's not a case where Cricket West Indies would choose to send it at staggered times to directors, but one email would have been sent copied to all of the relevant persons. You know what? Let me abandon that. Let me ask you this. On the email trail, the email that you got, were you the only one on that trail, or was it copied to the other directors, your director colleagues as well?
It was copied to all the directors. I cannot remember that we receiving any email from Cricket West Indies on the Saturday before the meeting. The email would have come at the 11:55 on Friday morning. All
right, so that's a variance there with what Calvin Hope told us. Beyond that, though, the issue of the voting has also caused some disquiet. We know that when Skerritt eventually overcame Dave Cameron in 2019, that at first it was going to be a show of hands vote. Then, as per the rules, one person said, well, no, I think they should go by ballot, and that's how it actually happened. This time around, the one party is saying, we want show of hands, and we understand that the other party is saying, no, this thing should go straight to ballot. What is your understanding of the rules that will attend to the voting process for the elections?
The Articles of Association clearly states that you will vote by show of hands. And if any member requested secret ballot, you will go to secret ballot. I just want to remind you and all your viewers, George, that in 2015, the election for Cricket West Indies president was done by show of hands.
Yes, but right. Remember, we are not the ones raising the issue. We're just asking for clarification. So, based on the rules that were communicated to you, abandon that again. You quoted the Articles of Association. Are you saying that no specific rules about the voting at the AGM were sent, and that you've had to go to the Articles of Association to see what those rules are for yourself? Or did CWI lift that section out of the articles to say, members, please be reminded that the voting procedure is this.
A notice was sent out in terms of how the voting will take place. I think you indicated that, and I am quite sure that the person who would have been conducting the election, George, he would have used the Articles of Association to carry out the process that's supposed to be used in the election.
And the reason I'm pushing you on this is because Calvin Hope said that the document I shared with him, based on what we understand the voting procedure to be, he's saying that that's not the information he has, that's not what was sent to him. So again, I'm wondering if different communication would have been sent to different directors or representatives who are interested parties in this CWI AGM.
It was the said document, but what I am telling you, I am going with what is in the Articles of Association, that it is by vote by show of hands, and if anyone who requested ballot, that the chairman of the meeting would have put a motion to the House and a vote would have been taken, as was done in 2015, where the show of hands was the elections.
All right, finally, Azim Basarath, the issues that have caused the AGM not to happen and the statements that have been made around the lack of a quorum and the adjournment of the meeting. Based on your experience, are you confident that by April 11, the parties who are to show up will show up, that you'll get this underway and that the elections will proceed smoothly?
I am quite sure that the election will go on the 11th. I think good sense will prevail. Barbados Cricket Association, Barbados have made tremendous contribution to the development of West Indies cricket. They have produced the 3Ws, a number of outstanding cricketers. They are still producing top-class cricketers. And I think that both Barbados Cricket Association and the Guyana Cricket Board will show up for the meeting on the 11th, and the meeting will go on.
Yeah, and I have to slide this one in. Many people are saying that in an organization such as Cricket West Indies, if you express opposition to something that is said, or if you proffer a counter view, you are seen as being like a parliamentary opposition in a parliamentary setting. You're being viewed as obstructionist. You're even called a member of a gang, whether it's a 2-member gang or a 3-member gang. Do you think these labels help Azim Basarath to foster the kind of collective decision-making and groupthink that is necessary to take West Indies cricket to the next level?
George, I have never heard those terms used, and it was never used in the boardroom. I think when we assemble in the boardroom for meetings, all of us have a very good relationship, and I'm quite sure that the relationship will continue after the election. But to say that those things happen, those things has never happened in a boardroom at Cricket West Indies level.
Excellent. Azim Basarath, thank you for your time this afternoon. All the best.
Most welcome, my brother.
Good. Yeah, Azim Basarath. Nice man. I met him at when Lance, the issue of David John Williams and William Wallace. That he was among those there. But look, Calvin Hope has one account of things, and he's certain that the information we shared yesterday isn't the information that he had, which is an issue for us. And he has an issue with the time that the financials were transmitted. I maintain, Lance, that in the spirit, not even in the spirit, where good corporate governance is concerned, you cannot give me, if Calvin Hope is right, you cannot send to me audited financial statements for the entity that I'm a part of and tell me that, here it is, consider this for tomorrow's meeting. That's not on. But Basarath is saying, no, the transmission of the email from his best information, and he's an interested party, he's a director. Yes. He got it from 48 hours before, Friday morning at 11:55 a.m., he said. Yes. And he's confident that the other directors, it was transmitted to them at that time. But Calvin Hope is telling us something different, Lance.
Yeah. As I said on the show yesterday, George, my concern is the governance of West Indies cricket and the confidence that the average man on the street should have regarding our administrators. And I pointed out that until the last elections, the sort of acrimony that we saw pre an election did not exist. As I said, Julian Hunt served 3 consecutive terms as a president. unopposed. There wasn't, boo-ha-ha over, who was going to be president. Prior to that, I remember when the Honorable Pat Rousseau became president, he was handed the presidency. He was seen as someone who had the acumen to lift West Indies cricket, and he was given the role to play as president. And, subsequent to that, we had Ken Gordon and so on. The last election, March 2019, was bitter. I remember, though, both parties, Ricky Skerritt and Dave Cameron, suggesting publicly that they tried their best not to be, acrimonious and bitter and take the race for the presidency down to the bottom of the barrel. It was simmering, but there was at least, to the public, some attempt on both parties, on both sides, not to drag the issue into, a sort of a dog fight. And it isn't maybe to that level now publicly, but we know that there's a lot of bitterness simmering, and this can't be good for West Indies cricket. And I just think that the governance reforms that we have seen suggested in the Paddison report, the Wilkins report, and the latest one, the Webby report, should have some bearing on where Cricket West Indies goes as far as governance is concerned. And I think West Indies cricket is what is at stake here, and the performance of the team and rebuilding the image of West Indies cricket is the most important thing.
All right, a lot more to say on that. When we come back from the break, Fazir Mohammed will talk to us about West Indies and Sri Lanka.